Hi everyone, I'm John Warburton, founder of Concilio and council member of Insurtech UK. I'm very pleased today to do another of our fireside chats this time with Silicon Valley Bank, with Craig Fox from Silicon Valley Bank. And it's very exciting. Silicon Valley Bank has been a partner of Insurtech UK now for several months, and we're very excited to welcome Craig because I think it's really interesting that we've got one of the key institutions of growth finance in the US available now to our members and to people in the UK. So, Craig, tell us a little bit about your background. You're originally from the US yourself, I believe, from Minnesota. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, and it'll be abundantly clear to everybody with the accent. So I've been with the bank for going on 8 years now. In a past life, I'm a recovering auditor. Was a CPA back with Deloitte in the States. I joined Silicon Valley Bank in Minnesota of all places. Spent the first few years covering the Midwest, the 14 states around the Midwest for our life sciences practice. We moved to London. We actually just had our five-year anniversary in London in December. So
and you were telling me that you've got a dog here, so that's it. You're here. You're committed to the UK, and you're here supporting us.
Yeah, we just
indefinitely.
Just filed our application for indefinite leave to remain. So assuming the UK government approves us to stay, we're
excellent. So you'll be doing your immigration test and you'll be learning about Scottish history. Excellent.
Yeah, I probably know more than the general public now because we had to study for the life in the UK exam.
Excellent. So tell me a bit about Silicon Valley Bank, because I mean, obviously, apart from the name, most people will be really interested in finding out what you do and how you fit into the ecosystem of Silicon Valley itself.
Yeah, very happy to. So my role with the bank in the UK is I run our growth stage fintech practice. When we think about fintech, maybe just starting there, we think about fintech. It's we have a pretty broad definition. So we focus really on anything that has its core foundation in financial services. So that's anything from payments, any business that's regulated, cross-border remittance, capital markets, technology, back-end infrastructure for banks, and we obviously lump Insurtech into that bucket. And it's it's an area that we have a very strong focus on both in the U.S. And abroad here in EMEA. Silicon Valley Bank has had a presence in the UK since 2005, but we got our banking license in 2012. So we're really about 8 years into building and scaling our EMEA operations. When I moved, 5 years ago, we were sub 100 people in our EMEA practice, which covers our UK headquarters. We have a couple people in Ireland. We have a presence in Denmark. We have a lending license with BaFin in Germany, so 25 people in Germany. And we also have a big team in Israel. The folks on the UK, we finished 2020, closer to 400 people. We'll probably add another 50 to 60 people in 2021. So we're growing quite dramatically.
And what services do Silicon Valley Bank offer in the UK? Is it equivalent to a Lloyd's or a NatWest, or is it somewhat more focused on the needs of the startup community?
Yeah, great question. So we're a full stack commercial bank. So we provide all of the day-to-day products and services you'd expect. So current accounts, corporate deposit accounts, foreign exchange, charge cards. We do a lot of lending to the space, but really what makes us different is our primary focus. Silicon Valley Bank as a whole was founded 40 years ago in California. We now cover, the entire United States, every meaningful pocket of innovation, across 30 plus offices, EMEA out of our UK headquarters, and we have a joint venture in China as well. And across all of our geographies, we focus on 3 core segments and really only 3 core segments, which is tech and innovation, life sciences, and funds banking. So I think about it as, we bank and lend to the source of capital, VC and PE funds, and we bank and lend to their portfolio companies. Because we're so laser focused on the innovation and economy segment, our mandate is really to work with companies across the entire life stage or life cycle and journey that they go through. So that's, from early stage, first bank account from foundation, raising some, seed money or friends and family funds or angel investments, all the way through to Series A from an institutional, through that entire growth journey to an eventual, hopeful, M&A or public listing and really beyond. But again, just laser focused on the tech and innovation space.
And obviously, given the demographics of our members, a lot of them will be at the earlier stage, and you do have services for that early stage. I know you definitely, some of our largest members and some of the ones on the way to being unicorns, you've definitely provided services to, but at that earlier stage, you've definitely got you're interested in talking to those. Is that right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, that is our that's really our bread and butter, right? Is starting and building relationships with our companies and clients and founders and entrepreneurs at the early stage so that we're there to help them grow through the journey. In fact, we've set up all of our relationship teams across the bank to mirror the life stages that a company would typically go through. So in the UK, as an example, we have an early stage banking practice, and their whole mandate is to bring on board, pre-Series A businesses that that have strong founders, look like they're on a good trajectory. And really what you're getting with us is you're not getting it's hard to win business with a better current account, right? Like banking products are commoditized. So where we really differentiate is our focus on understanding the journey that these founders and entrepreneurs go through. And we can kind of speak their language and be there to help along the way.
Mm-hmm. And that does include lending as part of the portfolio of services that you offer, but presumably there are criteria for that in terms of the amount of equity that's been raised and so on.
Yeah, generally our lending portfolio, our lending practice starts. You can think of it starting alongside Series A. Mm-hmm. So that's usually when we start lending. We're very happy, to lend to loss-making, high growth, VC funded companies. That's how we actually got our start. I think we invented venture debt 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. But that is the starting point, and then we've got an entire lending platform where we can do different flavors of working capital. We build kind of new products as we find use cases, and as we explore with our entrepreneurs and companies, where there's pain points and challenges. The ideas that we're
so from a founder's point of view, that can be quite an attractive way of reducing the dilution that might otherwise come from only being able to raise equity. But you have to have a decent amount of capital in order to de-risk it from your point of view, presumably.
Absolutely. When you're thinking about raising capital at that stage, obviously equity is important, and there are things that equity should absolutely fund. The idea behind early stage, growth stage, debt is really intended to complement the equity that you're raising. And again, you get access, you can leverage the equity that you've raised into accessing more capital at lower overall blended dilution. Mm-hmm. You can, and then effectively go further with the capital that you've raised, increasing enterprise value, and ultimately have better outcomes with giving up less percentage of the business.
Very interesting. So let's switch then to Insurtech specifically. So obviously, as you say, you've got a broader fintech brief, but what is it that excites you about fintech, about Insurtech specifically, and our members?
Yeah. So maybe just to recap, so we really, again, cover the breadth of the innovation economy. We have sector focused teams that we've built around our different core concentrations. So we have a consumer internet team. We have a enterprise software team. We have a fintech team. So within that fintech team, right, Insurtech is a big focus for us. We cover both B2C and B2B, platforms and solutions. We're really excited about the Insurtech space, particularly in the UK and EMEA, because I guess there's been a lack of disruption, as all of the members will know. I'm not telling them anything new there. There's a big market. It's slow, antiquated. It's got all of the ingredients that you would expect to provide a big market opportunity, for both the existing infrastructure, so the existing carriers and reinsurance companies on the B2B side, but also for consumers, right? We've already seen that in the States with the likes of successful IPOs of Lemonade and Root and some of these other larger Insurtechs. And my view and perspective is that the UK is kind of on their heels, and I expect 2021 and beyond to be really successful, both from a fundraise perspective, but also as some of the companies are starting to get to scale and you're becoming more well known from a consumer perspective.
And do you have a perspective on which elements of the Insurtech value chain are more interesting or more, let's say, more I guess lendable, for Silicon Valley Bank, and more attractive from a banking perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we truly work across the entire value chain. I think there's a really interesting debate that has been happening over the last couple years, and I think it's coming to a head now, again, with some of the names that we've recently spoken about. But around the commercial model, right? Broker MGA, or do you take on board all of the baggage that comes with launching a fully licensed carrier, with the capital requirements, regulatory capital, and different licensing arrangements. And my hunch is that because of some of the successful outcomes of other Insurtech names that have gone the carrier route. I expect that, and I'm already seeing that conversation being had, at the board discussions around, I think before it was a, yay or nay, right? Should we or shouldn't we? And now it feels like the conversation is moving more towards when, not if. It makes sense to, and again, particularly on the B2C side.
Interesting. And what about Brexit? Is that something that you see? I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, you've got a bit of a footprint in the EU, but mainly you're based in the UK. How is Brexit affecting your business?
Yeah, well, luckily we're really not impacted by Brexit. We get licensed locally, so we're currently set up as a branch of the US parent, which doesn't impact our ability to provide banking products and services, right? Like I said, we're fully licensed. We've got the whole platform available. But what it does mean is that we don't rely on and haven't historically relied on passporting into different geographies. So we've been going country by country or geography by geography and getting licensed locally to be able to provide, the products and services in those jurisdictions. So we've really had no disruption. We have seen it impact, some of our companies. Obviously, with the lack of passporting capability, many of our fintech companies have had to go, build and launch a European hub, right? And manage a secondary license, push their European-based customers through that license. So there's definitely been a distraction. There's been an impact both from a time and cost perspective, but from what our capability is to be able to support our companies, there has really been no change, which has been good.
Okay, great. And just finally then, so, if people are excited about what you've been talking about and they want to be part of this ecosystem, how would they get in touch with you and how would they explore using Silicon Valley Bank's services?
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's exactly one of the main reasons why we're so excited about getting involved with Insurtech UK. We really believe in the mandate. We want to be supportive to the broader and wider ecosystem. We want to be working as closely as possible with the members. So, I'm very, very happy for any of the Insurtech UK members to reach out directly to myself. I can get our wider fintech team involved, and would love to have as many conversations as possible to explore how we can, do more to support, both the individual companies, but also the wider overall mandate of Insurtech UK and driving, helping drive innovation.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you for your time and thank you for your support of Insurtech UK. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Looking forward to getting, even more involved.